The title of my talk is Computational Analysis of Animal Behavior using Machine Learning and Mathematical Modeling. So these are the table of contents for my talk. Actually, I have divided it into 4 parts. In the first part, I just want to give you overview what I am doing, my research, and even the research group, my research group, and then we will move to the motivation, the technique which I am using. Actually, in this model, like the proposed model, I'm using the fixed point technique, specifically related with the Banach fixed point theorem. Then we will move to the scientific results, in which we'll discuss different type of behavioral models, and we try to connect it with the machine learning and data science. And then I will try to conclude my talk by giving some open problems for those who are interested in this kind of research. So let's start with the first section. Professional information. As I told you, I'm working as an associate professor at the School of Software, Northwestern Polytechnical University, China, which is in Xi'an. These are my research interests related with the mathematical modeling, nonlinear analysis. Actually, if I try to give you a complete overview of my research, yeah, it is a mixture of many fields. Quite interdisciplinary research. Normally, I'm working on the mathematical modeling of physical problems. When the problem is in mathematics, then I try to use the mathematical techniques to find the solution of that problem. And now I'm trying to connect my research problem with the machine learning and data science. For example, if I can explain it. Okay, this is my research team who are working with me from Spain, Thailand, Malaysia, and Saudi Arabia. Okay, so the first thing which I'm working nowadays with my student is related, or with my research team is related with the Nash equilibrium and its application in cybersecurity and attacks. As I think all of you know that cybersecurity is one of the key research area in which a lot of researchers are working, in which we deal with different type of attacks and security system. And what we are doing, we are trying to connect it with the matrix theory and trying to find the Nash equilibrium of the problem. That is the mathematical part of the problem. Obviously, we are also trying to connect it with the machine learning because we have the large data sets related with this. This is the published paper which we published last year in this area, in which we observe intrusion detection system for Internet of Things security using multi-model big data representation with transfer learning and game theory. Actually, if you see this word game theory, it is the mathematical, quite mathematical concept in which we try to find the Nash equilibrium of the problem and transform the problem in with the help of matrix theory. The second key research is related with the applied behavioral analysis and learning theory, in which we try to observe the behavior of animals and humans in certain circumstances. Actually, our talk is related with this, specifically this research area. And these are some of the latest published results in this area. The first thing is related with the rumor spreading with attitude of adjusting mechanism. As you know that we are surrounded with different type of social media apps, and on such apps, some people try to spread rumors, and we all know that what would be the effect of such rumors in our on our society. So we model this problem with the help of differential equation, and we solve this problem. The second thing is related with the computational and analytical analysis of integral differential equations, which can help to model avoidance learning behavior of, for example, the rat. When the rat is enclosed in a box and he tried to escape from that box. So normally we try to say that such type of problem are related with the avoidance learning, and one of the example is the shuttle box avoidance learning behavior. This is a paper which is directly related with the talk we published last year. It is related with the computational modeling of animal behavior in T mazes, in which we try to connect with mathematical modeling and machine learning. In which actually in this paper we observe the behavior of a rat and a zebrafish in a T maze structure, which maybe I will discuss it in the later part. I will explain actually in this paper maybe in the third section, right? Okay, so let's start with the motivation. Actually, we discussed some the key research. Now we move to the next section, which is about the motivation. Actually, in this section, I just focus on one or two methods which I'm using. The first thing, we all know that the fixed point theory I am using. Actually, we know that a point which remains unchanged or remains invariant is called the fixed point. And if you try to draw the graph of a function, which is in the green line with the y equal to x line, which is the red line, and if it intersect, that point is called the fixed point. This theory actually evolved in different directions. For example, topological fixed point theory or discrete fixed point theory or metric fixed point theory. If we just remain in the metric fixed point theory, we all know that the famous theorem, which is one of the core theorem in functional analysis, is the Banach fixed point theorem, obviously, which is a work of Professor Stephen Banach, his PhD work actually, where he involved this concept to solve the differential equations. And according to this theorem, if we have a complete metric space, it means that our metric space has a completeness structure. And then our mapping satisfy the contraction condition. Contraction condition means that if in a metric space, a mapping Tx to x is called a contraction mapping. If there is a constant k, which is in this interval, such that the distance between Tx and Ty is less or equal to k times distance between x and y for all x, y belong to x. If our mapping satisfies such type of condition with the k which lies in this interval, then we say that the mapping is the contraction mapping, or we name it as a Banach contraction mapping. Actually, this mapping has a huge impact on a completeness of the metric space, because in a complete metric space, if our mapping satisfies such type of a condition, then we will get a unique fixed point. That is the simplest and easiest statement of the Banach fixed point theorem. Let me explain it in more detail. This is actually the complete statement. The extra part is here. Moreover, actually, when we get a unique fixed point, for example, here, then obviously we can maybe connect it with the Picard iteration process, which is defined like this: xn equal to txn minus 1. Then this iteration process converge to the fixed point of the mapping T. This theorem has a huge impact on functional analysis problem. Even a lot of researchers try to extend it in different direction. For example, if I try to explain it in more detail, they try, one of the key direction or key research area in this field is to use different type of metric spaces. For example, B metric spaces or partial metric spaces. Nowadays, M metric space is one of the example where in which people are trying to extend this theorem. Another direction is the introduce or extend this contraction condition or the mapping to the multi-valued mapping. Actually, this concept explained in more detail in this mapping by Professor Hamsi, who explained the behavior of a multi-valued mapping in this structure. And if you research in this area specifically related with the metric fixed point theory or the Banach fixed point theorem, you will see maybe more than 1,000 generalization of this theorem, even maybe 2,000. But if we say that 1,000 generalization, out of 1,000, 80 or 90% generalization are dependent on this type of condition. A lot of researchers try to extend this condition. They try to use different type of condition actually here. For example, they generalize it actually. One of the generalization is they call it phi metric, for example, phi contraction mappings, in which they replace this constant k with such some certain type of mapping here. In terms of k, they have mapping here, and they say that it is a controlled or phi metric spaces or phi contraction mappings actually. And even if you see, these are the ingredients. We need a complete metric space. We need a mapping, and the mappings satisfy the contraction condition, which is here. Then we will get a unique fixed point. But there is another direction of this theorem, which is the Picard iteration process. As we know that if we study the Picard iteration process, the problem with the Picard iteration is its convergence rate. It is because of the convergence rate, we need to, or researcher try to extend this iteration process, or they introduce different type of iteration process. For example, the Man iteration process or Ishikawa iteration process. Actually, in this direction, Professor Berinde, who is a well-known professor in the field of fixed point theory from Romania, he published one book related with the iteration process, in which he discussed a lot of iteration process. For example, Krasnodębski iteration process. Actually, these iteration processes, which dependent on the fixed point properties, people try to mix it or extend it with the optimization problem, which is one of the key direction or the link between this field and the optimization field. So these are the main ingredients, and I already explained their extension. But one of the extension or one of the key research area of this theorem or in this direction is still undiscussed, which is the application of this theorem, Banach fixed point theorem. If you try to find the application of specifically this theorem, you will find that this theorem can be used in different type of mathematical problems. For example, in ordinary differential equation or matrix equation, partial differential equation, where Banach fixed point theorem plays an important role because of the limited condition, and the conditions are very strict. And even not in just the specific mathematical problem, this theorem can be used to solve different type of physical problems, real world problems as well. For example, predator-prey model, which is a well-known model, cell growth problem, scattering problems, even in the graph theory. Nowadays, a lot of researchers are working in the direction of fractal theory, in which they use fixed point iteration processes. So our aim is actually this research or in this talk, we try to discuss the application of this theorem, how we can apply this theorem in solving one problem which is related with the animal behavior or behavioral analysis. So therefore, I explained this theorem. Now let's move to the scientific results. Okay, actually, in this specific section, I will explain the mathematical modeling part, which is a very important part, how model evolve during different time sections. For example, this paper. If you see this paper, it is about the traumatic avoidance learning in normal dogs. It published in 1953, which is a work of Professor Solomon and Professor Wen. And it published in Psychological Monograph, Journal and Applied in 1953. Okay. In this paper, Professor Solomon and Wen observed the behavior of a dog in this apparatus. Actually, this apparatus name is shuttle box apparatus, in which they want the dog to jump from one side to another side of the box. And And its application is if you see the dog races, in which dog need to cross different type of hurdles. Actually, it is the application of this paper. And if you know the dog behavior, and if you place the dog, assume you place the dog in this shuttle box, and you want the dog to jump from one side to another side, maybe dog will not jump. He will not follow us. The dog cannot follow us. So what they did, they replaced the floor of this wooden box with the metal bars, and they connect these metal bars with electricity. So it means that if dog didn't jump, they give the shock to the dog. And because of the shock, dog jump from one side to another side. Okay. And this is, as you can see, this is the data which published in this paper. And here you can see the dog number and the trials, and you can see the empty things and the capital S here. In this data, assume in the first, if you see dog number 13 at trial 0, assume the dog didn't jump in this trial, and they give the shock to the dog, and because of the shock, dog jumped from one side to another side. They mark this trial with capital S. S means shock. Jump with shock. Okay. And if you repeat this experiment with the same dog, maybe in the next trial, dog didn't jump. So they give the shock, dog jump. So they write S here. But if you see this trial, trial number 3 here, it is empty. It means that the same dog in the third trial jump without shock. And if you see the whole data set here, in the starting trials, all the dogs bear the shock. But after some trials, dogs started learning that if dog not jump from one side to another side, dog need to bear the shock. And because of the fear of the shock, dog started jumping from one side to another side. And that is called the learning behavior of a dog. Okay. So this is one of the key papers in the field of behavior analysis, in which we observe the behavior of a specific animal in certain circumstances. So let's move to another paper, which is about the human behavior, which is published in 1956, work of Professor Goodnow, in which they observed the behavior of human, for example, the children in this game. This game is called the poker chip game, in which the participant of the game need to press one of the key buttons to get the poker chip. And if they get the poker chip, they need to choose which button they need to press, okay, to get that poker chip. And Professor Goodnow actually observed the behavior of human in these circumstances, because human are, if you compare here, the common thing between this experiment and this experiment is the two-choice behavior. Two-choice behavior here means dog jump or not jump. This is the two behaviors here. But here, the same thing. Which button participant will press, A1 or A2? They need to think about it. And that is called the learning behavior in this experiment. Another, if we strict on animals, assume here, another key research paper is this paper, which published in 1956, two-choice behavior of paradise fish, in which Professor Bush and Professor Wilson observed the behavior of a fish in a fish tank. If you see the fish tank, fish has two choices to swim. It means that fish can move towards left side or right side. So the same thing in all experiment, the common thing is the two-choice behavior of animal or human. Assume if we say that in here you can see fish can move towards side A and towards side B, and there is a divider which divides the side A and B. And why it is called the T maze experiment? Because the apparatus looks like English alphabet T. And we model this problem with the help of mathematical modeling, and we use the fixed point theory, and we publish the first paper in this direction in 2019, in which we connect mathematical modeling and the fixed point theory on such type of problems. Let me explain this. Actually, the main difference is the divider. Why divider is important? Assume in the first trial, the food is placed on side A and fish move towards side B in the first trial. While coming back, there is a small chance that fish can see through this transparent divider where the food is placed. And because of the transparent divider, fish will start moving towards side A in the upcoming trials. So we covered this problem with the opaque divider. It means that now fish cannot see where the food is placed. And if you extend this experiment, assume in the first trial, food is on side A and fish move towards side A. So it means that fish will get the food. And in the next trial with the same fish, now we are talking about the same fish. If you repeat this experiment with the same fish, if fish move towards side B, fish will not get the food because the food is placed on side A. But if you repeat this experiment again and again with the same fish, after some trials, fish will learn that the food is placed on side A and fish will start moving towards side A. And that is called the mathematical solution of this problem. When you fix the food and fish need to find the food where the food is placed by its own experience. And that is called the learning behavior of a fish in this experiment. So we model this problem with the help of a functional equation. For example, there are two events, side A or side B, for example. So we model this problem with this kind of functional equation in which we involve probability because we know that there are two events and the chances for the event is x. So for B, it will be 1 minus x. And we use the transition operators for this one. For example, the probability of x to this transition operator is x, and for the other is 1 minus x. And we fix the state space, which is the closed interval 0, 1 in this case, because actually we need to fix the problem in the mathematical modeling. So now we have the functional equation. Assume we have the functional equation. Now the application, actually, okay, let me explain some of the application of this, and then we will come back to the math part. As I told you that the learning behavior of animal is when animal learns something with its own experience. It means that you do not need to guide animal. Animal will learn thing by its own experience. That is called the learning behavior of that animal. And for example, the T-maze experiment, as I told you that it looks like an English alphabet T, and in which is a famous experiment in biology, in which the biologists try to observe the behavior of a rat or mouse in this apparatus, in which they put the food on one side of the apparatus and they observe the behavior by using this locomotion, actually, method. So now we try to find the solution of that because we already have the equation. If we have the model, and our aim is to apply the Banach fixed point theorem here. So as we know that for the Banach fixed point theorem, the main ingredients was the complete metric space and our mapping satisfy the contraction condition. So the first thing is we use the closed interval 0, 1, which is the state space, and we apply this type of norm, and we say that it is a Banach space. So obviously the complete metric space. So the first problem is okay. Now we need to check that whether our mapping satisfy the contraction condition or not. That is the theorem A. So we use, actually we convert the problem into the fixed point problem. So our problem become like this. And with the operator A, now we need to check that whether operator A is a Banach contraction mapping or a contraction mapping or not. Assume if A is a Banach contraction mapping, if this statement holds, then it means that A should satisfy this kind of condition, which I already explained before. So in this problem, we just need to check that whether our operators satisfy this kind of condition or not. Assume it satisfies. So because of the Banach contraction mapping in a complete metric space, if our mapping satisfy the contraction condition, then we'll get a unique fixed point. And this theorem, the second theorem, is related with the Picard iteration, which I already explained in the beginning. that if we try to construct the Picard iteration process, then the iteration will converge to the fixed point of the problem that is related with this. Actually, this is a straightforward outcome which comes from the Banach fixed point theorem. So with these two theorems, we apply the Banach fixed point theorem, which can guarantee the existence and uniqueness of the solution. So the first part is okay. Now we need to check our results with the help of machine learning and data science, for example. So what we did, this is the overall of our experiment here, in which we have the fish or a rat in a fish tank or a TMAS setup in general. So we got the data set in terms of videos in which we can see that where the rat or where the fish is moving, in which side they are moving, and we can when we have the data set, so we do the data pre-processing because sometimes the data is not in the balanced form. And when we have the data, we can do the statistical analysis. Then our data is prepared for the machine learning. Then we can apply different type of machine learning models to get the accuracy of our technique, actually. So assume here we are discussing or we are comparing the behavior of two animals, zebrafish and the rat, in the same structure. It means the TMAS structure. So I can show you one of the video which we have, for example, the journal video actually for the mouse. Let's see. This is the scenario one where the food is on left side and the rat is moving towards the food side. That is called the scenario one. And in scenario two, you can see the food is on the left side, but the rat is moving toward the right side. It means that the rat will not get the food. So depending on this, we can prepare the data set with the different scenario, as I explained here with these two scenarios. And when we have the data set, actually we got the data set with the help of locomotion of animal. And you can see this is the left side trajectories of zebrafish, and this is the right side, this is again the left side of the rat, because we are comparing the behavior of zebrafish and rat. And here, these are the right side trajectories, motion trajectories, actually. Okay, if you see here, the main behavior or main difference between their trajectories, if you see, in terms of zebrafish, the rat movement is quite linear. Actually, we cannot say the linear, but if you see here, the zebrafish movement is quite zigzag movement as compared to the rat. And this is the main difference of their movement. And when we got the data set actually here, we need to do as I told you, we need to do the data pre-processing for this one. And actually we use different type of pre-processing techniques because the data set was in video. We convert the video data set into the images, and then we use different type of data augmentation technique, for example, the SMOT. In that case, and then we split the data set in terms of train and test, and to check the accuracy of this. And actually, we apply two machine learning models, CNN and LSTM and CNN GRU, and these are the model accuracy and model loss for our experiment, and these are the confusion metrics for our results. And if you we got calculated the accuracy by depending on these formulas, which are recall, precision, F1 score, and the accuracy. And these are the accuracy results which we got from it. So this is the end. Let me conclude my talk. Actually, if I explain it in more detail, this model can be, or such type of model can be extended to observe the behavior of different type of animals. For example, the predator-prey model. As I told you, in our model, or the model I discussed, the common point was the two-choice behavior. And Here, this model can be easily extended to the predator-prey model when the predator has two choices of prey. Okay, so this is one of the application, and another extension can be in terms of a human, because in human we normally have more than two choices. So this model can be extended in terms of more choices, more than two choices as well. As I told you, as I discussed before, we propose such type of functional equation. Actually, when we were working on the data set, we found a problem in the model, and the problem was I can explain here with this, specifically with the rat and the fish. Actually, sometime here our aim was to that fish choose or fish turns towards one side of these boxes. It means that fish need to choose or move towards side A or towards side B. But what we observe from our data set, sometime in minor cases, fish or rat didn't move towards any side. It means that they started their journey from here, and maybe they reach here, and after this point they go back, or they didn't move in some trials. So we stick on this problem, and we search about it, and we introduce or we tackle this problem with this type of actually equation, in which we added this kind of extra term here, which can actually, in psychology, we say that blank trial, such type of events is called the blank trial. It means that the events in which animal cannot decide what to do. So that is called the blank trial events. And we added one term in our functional equation here to make our model perfect or according to the data we have. So we use the Banach fixed point theorem, as I told you, but there are a lot of extension. As I told you, there are more than 1,000 extension of this theorem. So one of the key direction or the extension of this theorem or the idea is to use different type of Banach generalized fixed point theorem to find the existence and uniqueness of our model. And other thing is the stability. Actually, in terms of functional equation, one of the key research problem is related with the stability analysis. For example, Ulam and Harris type stability, or Ulam, Harris, or Rassias type stability of the functional equation. So the extension can be to find the stability of such type of functional equation. So another thing is we started with this, one of the paper is this paper, which is the work of Professor Berinde and Professor Khan. I already discussed about Professor Berinde. He worked in this direction. Another thing is this paper, which is a group from Spain and Poland. They started working this direction. We use the Banach fixed point theorem. They use another technique, which is a collocation method, to find the same existence and uniqueness of the same problem in terms of mathematics. Actually, they didn't use the machine learning or other things. They stick on the model actually. Another extension, if you are interested in terms of machine learning, assume. So another extension is can be in terms of the three dimensions, animal location in terms of three direction. For example, this paper, deep learning tools for the measurements of animal behavior in neuroscience, in which they actually observe the behavior of animal, different type of behavior of animals in certain circumstances. Actually, in this model, normally they use the sensor data. It means they use some type of sensor and they place those sensor on the body of the animal, so that they can locate the location of the animal and the location obviously in terms of X, Y, and Z axis, so that they can even observe the behavior of animal. And this is our paper. I already explained. One of the extension, or one of the direction in which we are working, or our group work in this direction, is related with this model, which I already explained. related with the dog behavior. Actually, we are working in the game theoretical and deep learning feature optimization approaches to analyzing dog behavior and cognition. In the previous model, we just observed two types of behavior. It means the left or right turn, obviously, but in terms of dog, for example, we can observe different type of behavior. For example, what dog is doing now: sitting, standing, walking, jumping, any type. We are working maybe more than 15 or 16 types of different behavior of a dog. And we are using the game theory idea in which we try to find the Nash equilibrium, and then we apply, because we have the data set of this problem, we can apply the machine learning on this thing. And actually, this is a special issue specifically related with the functional equation, which I explained. It is still accepting paper in the Journal of Mathematical Sciences. If you have paper related with it, please, you can consider this journal. It is free. And thank you, Andy.